Okay, with it being 2:01, I'd like to go ahead and call the City Design Review meeting to order. We were emailed our last minutes in September, so hopefully y'all had a chance to review all those. Anybody have any amendments, changes?
Motion to approve as submitted.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Minutes are approved. Our first case for hearing today is KRB 2026-01. It's a request for a certificate of appropriateness to install an internally illuminated monument sign and internally illuminated wall sign at FSD1 building located at 301 South Dargan Street, identified as Florence County Tax Map Number 90087-07-004 in the D3 Arts Cultural Overlay District. Staff?
Good afternoon. Happy New Year. And Merry Christmas and Happy Thanksgiving. It's been a while. This actually has been clarified. They're installing an internally illuminated monument sign and wall signs, but the wall signs are not illuminated. So just want to clarify that. They are seeking the COA to install a second internally illuminated monument sign in front of Pointer School, and which is within the Arts and Culture Overlay District. And they're also adding 2 more wall signs to the building, as well as 8 directional signs to the parking lot. So this is, of course, Pointer School, owned by the Florence District 1 School District. They've been renovating it to turn it into a magnet school, and it is zoned Central Business District. This is the area map of what they want to do. On the right, on the corner of Palmetto and South Dargan, is the existing monument sign. They just want to put one identical to it at the other corner, on the corner of Pine Street. So that will go in the left-hand corner of the screen there. There will be entrance and exit signs placed at the entrances to the parking lot. There are 4 of them, 2 on Pine and 2 on Dargan Street. And then a couple months ago, they asked for an administrative COA for channel letters that spell out the word McLeod Health, and that is going to be put, it hasn't been put up yet, on the right side of the building where that blue square is on the picture. And then they are also asking for 2 more wall signs, one over the main door and then one over a side door to the right, or to the left, I'm sorry. So this is the monument sign. It's identical to the one that's already up there, and that one is internally illuminated. And then this is the sign that was approved administratively because it did meet the design guidelines for individual letters, and this will go on the far right of the building. And so they would normally be allowed 2 wall signs, so they're asking for 2 more. Over the main entrance will be the pointer and then the 2 shields. And then off to the side, door on the left will be the word pointer over that door as well. Neither one of those is illuminated. They're both just identification signs there. And then the directional signs, there'll be an enter and exit at each of those 4 driveways. So that concludes staff's report.
Anyone have any questions of staff? Anyone here to speak in this matter? Y'all approach the podium and please state your name.
Good afternoon. Kyle Jones, Deputy Superintendent, Florence 1 Schools.
Hello, Debbie Jenkins, Tyson Sign Company.
This afternoon, we're back seeking your approval on some additional signage. If you were able to come out to grand opening in December, it was a great event. Hundreds of people showed up, and we now have students in the building. Parking lot was one of the last pieces to be complete. After it was completed, we believed that it would be an enhancement to have a bookend, if you will, to have a sign as you're coming down Dargan Street into the parking lot. It would match the illuminated sign that's on the other side as you come in and out of Florence and into our downtown corridor. We believe it's a very regal look, and we're seeking your approval to add that signage.
And I'm available. Such a good staff report, and Kyle's made a nice presentation. I'm available for any questions regarding any of the sign details, if you have those.
Anyone have any questions? I think we're good. Thanks.
Good. Thank you.
We'll go ahead and close the public hearing and open it up for discussion or motion.
Chairman, I would just like to say, we were driving in the other night back into Florence and saw the sign there, the first one you put up. It looks fantastic, I think. So I think it helps that corridor. And I think with the size of the property that's there, the additional signs wouldn't be, to me, it's not a problem.
I agree with that.
I think if the property was smaller, or a 4,000 square foot building may have an issue, but with this one, the size of the building and the amount of work that's been done and community support, I would like to make a motion that we approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, certificate will be issued. Grant, the building is beautiful. So, our second case is case DRB 2026-02. Request of a certificate of appropriateness to install internally illuminated wall sign at 135 North Dargan Street, identified as Florence County Tax Map Number 90167-02-013 in the H1 Historic Overlay District. Staff?
All right, the applicant,
Eileen, I'd like to make a motion that Mr. Paget is recusing himself from this
okay,
this case.
all righty. Thank you. All right, they are looking for a certificate of appropriateness to install two internally illuminated wall signs at 301, I'm sorry, I forgot to change that, it's 135 South Dargan Street. One will go at the rear of the building to identify a new restaurant and bar that has been placed there. And a second blade sign will go on the front at the second story level to identify apartments. And then they are also asking for 3 directional wall signs on the alley side. And in addition, they're replacing the face of the existing blade sign that was for 135 Seafood or whatever it was before, to identify that restaurant. And this is within the Historic Overlay District, which is our most restrictive. So it is on North Dargan Street, just north of West Evans Street, and is zoned Central Business District. So right now, they the first sign they want to replace is the blade sign that's there currently, and they're going to give it the new restaurant. This one will not be illuminated, and this is just refacing an existing sign. And it will be routed, so it really doesn't even need DRB approval because it meets the standards. This one will be internally illuminated. This is a second sign on the front of the building. They want to put this up on the second floor to identify the urban flats, because there's going to be several apartments on the second floor. But that would make 2 wall signs on the front of this building, and this one would be illuminated. And it's 22 square feet, so it's twice as large as the restaurant sign. Then in the rear, they would like to put a 50 square foot illuminated wall sign to identify the restaurant and bar that is accessible from the back of the building. So there's 2 restaurants on the ground floor and then the apartments on the second. And then in order to direct people to all this activity, they want to put this hanging blade sign at the back of the alley. And this one is only 9 square feet and it's not illuminated. And then at the beginning and end of the alley, they'll put these directional signs that are only 1 square foot each, to identify, to point people towards the entrances to the second restaurant and to the apartments. So that concludes staff's report.
Okay. Any questions of staff?
So we're that applicant's refacing the first floor sign and adding 3 more?
Actually, 5 more.
5 more.
And they can have up to 2 wall signs. So he's basically asking for 3 wall signs plus, if you count the 9 square foot directional sign as a directional sign, then he's asking for 3 directional signs and 3 wall signs. And 2 of those wall signs are internally illuminated.
Yes.
In the historic district, what does it call for as far as illuminated signs?
Generally, they prefer externally illuminated signs, like with gooseneck lighting or something like that, but there are a small number of internally illuminated signs that have been approved by the board.
Of this size?
Yes. For instance, I'm thinking of the ice cream one, the ice cream shop, and I believe Synergies is internally illuminated, and I think Holy Smokins is also.
So
It's been a case-by-case basis.
but it's the number of signs in this case, plus the size. The one I have a concern with is the, how big did you say the one on the back was?
The one on the
50
back
square feet?
is 50 square feet. And then the second one in the front is 22, which is twice as large as the restaurant sign in the front, which is 10, I believe. Yeah.
Is there anybody here to speak? That's,
And just approach the podium, please.
I didn't mean to ask.
State your name. It's not a
Chairman,
problem.
I was just curious to,
I was just waiting to make sure there wasn't any more questions for staff.
Terrence Thomas, I'm the owner of 135 North Dargan.
Okay.
I'm Dennis with ASL Signs. I'm here I can represent and talk about any of the signage, and the owner can talk about.
Can y'all let us know why y'all think you need that many directional signs?
Well, if you're coming from South Dargan to North Dargan, it's hard to see that and just to make one correction, the rooftop bar, the restaurant's on the first floor, and there's a separate rooftop bar in the back half, and then the apartment's on the front half of it. So to really understand that the rooftop bar is back there, you need something to point off of the main street for that. And instead of putting another blade sign, they felt the need to put it on the wall so we could have that directional sign. Coming from the parking lot, you wouldn't know that there's a entrance for disabled people to get to the elevator. So we need to point towards that elevator in the code just to let them know that there's an option for that. Because of the rooftop bar and the square footage of the surface of that, we felt that that was appropriate to be able to see from the parking lot, from the road, that sort of things. Yes, sir.
We had worked really hard on various designs over the past, I want to say, 4 months, trying to find something we felt like would be appropriate for downtown Florence that would look very nice and have a very nice look and not be something that would be brash looking or off kilter, if you will. Something that would blend in and have significance for the business.
Anyone have any other questions of the applicant?
has staff asked you or mentioned anything about the size of the sign on the back? Asked you to reduce it at all?
About reducing which aspect of it?
The size of it, 50 square feet.
Any particular one?
The one on the back.
Oh, you're talking about
That
the
one.
Soho
Yeah.
Vibes.
The one on the screen behind, or?
Okay, this one right here.
Right there.
Because we're what, like, did you have a recommendation that you wanted? I mean, yeah, the problem with the sign is it's really not that large for what it's made out to be. So it's a halo lit sign with channel letters. And, you know, when you make the sign smaller, it's very difficult to make these things and add the lighting and the wiring and all that in there and still have a nice even light on the back of this building. Can we reduce it? Yeah, we could. I couldn't see reducing it that much. But if we needed to, we could certainly work on it.
I would probably refer to staff if they'd.
We had originally had this sign larger than this here in our earlier drawings, and this was our reduced version of that. If that helps you any, and it may or may not.
Yeah, I would agree. The scale of that sign relative to that building does look a little bit larger than it needs to be, I think.
I'm not sure that's to scale though, so I don't know how proportionate it would.
It should be to scale. It should be.
Yeah, it probably would be. Jerry, is this something staff could work on?
If the applicant was willing to reduce the size of it, then yeah, we could work with that. You know.
Okay.
One other issue that concerns us too is, you know, the front sign, the one for the urban flats on the front is kind of above where the typical sign band for a building is. So, you know, there's some buildings there have like the name of the building in that area, if it's designed like that. But, you know, this would be one of the you know, fairly different in that it's at the top of the building up there. So, I don't know that our guidelines specifically, you know, outlaw that.
Especially in the historic district, correct? It seems to me that this is something that staff and this applicant can work together on and remedy those two issues, am I correct?
Yeah, I think we could.
Is that something you're willing to do?
Well,
I will say, I hope this picture is not misleading. It makes it look like that sign goes above the roof line, and it clearly does not. Is that what's in question here?
No, I think it's just in that top building band. I realize it's not above the roof line.
Okay. What, are we okay in repositioning it with you guys and making it a little lower in that space?
Yeah, I mean,
Would that make everyone happy?
is there no way to incorporate it into one of the more ground level signs or one of the ones in the?
No, because it's two separate businesses.
Right.
That's the main thing there. And honestly, the first floor sign is an existing sign. We're just essentially refacing that one. And then we're adding the new business up on top. That was the reason for having those separate that way.
and the idea came from the FMU building across the street and the Hyatt building, so.
This way, everyone has their own identity.
Right.
Is the urban flats lodging, is that night to night type rentals, or is that?
It will be Airbnb.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions of the applicant or staff? We'll go ahead and close the public hearing and open it up for discussion or make a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I see the need for the signs. However, I agree that possibly that staff and the applicant could work together to maybe, whether it be reduce or
Relocate.
modify. But however, I do see the need for the different signs. It seemed up front a lot, but you've got a lot going on in that building.
With it, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Steve?
With being in the historic district, I think I would like to see staff and the applicant work together and come to some meeting of the minds and with these signs so that we have a project down there that really fits in and is really part of our historic district and is just better for the district, the applicant, and the city. If that's something that staff is willing to do.
Jerry Eiling?
Well, that's why we bring them signs like this that don't quite meet the standards. That's why they're brought to the board, for the board to determine
Okay.
what you'd like.
But we would be glad to work with the applicant on a proper placement and scaling of that. I mean, if the board's generally good with the number of signs and the overall design of the signs, we could work with them on the scaling and the placement of those.
Is this something we'd have to come back to you guys with, like this meeting? Or
It
is
all
that
depends
something
on
that
how the motion's presented.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
We could do a partial approval too, you know, you could approve certain components of it and then bring another component back if, you know.
I think on those the two signs at least, and that's the two I'm talking about at the beginning, is those two I think need to have. I think city and the applicant need to work closer together on those two. On the number of signs and the size, we asked about incorporating different signs. If the board is okay with those, you know, some of these signs are pretty large. I just think we need to I just want to see it done correctly the first time, you know, and this isn't going to be the only place that comes forward and wants signs, but a 50 square foot sign, I'm a little concerned with it. On a, what is it, 4,000 square foot building? 3,900?
Well, in the central business district, it's allowed to be up to 25% of the area of the facade.
And this is historic district?
That's the underlying unified development
Right.
ordinance, not, but they don't have specific size requirements in the design guidelines, but, per the underlying zoning code. And the central business district goes beyond the historic district as well, so it's the underlying zoning.
And I'll ask you again, does staff have any concern with any of the other signs?
The directional ones, no.
Okay. So if I had to go further and make a motion, I would move to approve the other summons, and these contingent on working with staff to see about the size and locations of those other two.
Mr. Powers has a motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Jeffers, second. All in favor? Aye. Certificate to be issued. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Our third case today is case DRB 2026-03. It's a request of a certificate of appropriateness to demolish the house located at 608 South McQueen Street, identified as Florence County Tax Map Number 90075-10-014 in the D4 Timrod Park Overlay District. Staff?
All right, this is the first, we got two demolitions. This one is a house at 608 South McQueen Street, which is a house built in 1930, and it's located on a double lot. And the owner is asking to demolish that house and replace it with two single-family houses once the double lot has been subdivided into two single lots. It is here in mid-block between Cedar and McLeod Streets, along McQueen Street. And as I said, it was built in 1930, and it's a 2,300 square foot house. These are photos of the house. It has been vacant for a number of years, and as the liaison with Timrod Park, I've gotten a lot of complaints about this house over the years, so I think nobody's going to be too sorry to see it being demolished. The owner then will be taking his request to subdivide the lot to the Board of Zoning Appeals, because the minimum lot size for new, or lot width for new lots is 60 feet, and he only has 96 feet on this lot, so he needs a bit of a variance on that, but that will go before the Board of Zoning Appeals. What you all have to approve is the demolition, and then in general, these are the options, the style of house that he's looking at to replace this one with. So you could leave the materials and colors, specific materials and colors, up to staff, and we can compare it to what's in the design standards. We basically just need to know that you all approve of the concept of the demo and then of replacing it with something similar to these. So that would conclude staff's report.
Anyone have any questions of staff? Anyone here to speak on this matter? Okay. If you want to just state your name.
Hey, I'm Fields Norwood, and with Norwood Properties. And anyway, just here to answer any questions and hopefully move this down the road.
Okay. Anyone have any questions for Mr. Norwood? Okay, it's presented well, so I appreciate you letting us know you're here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you have a comment you would like to make? Sure. If you want to approach the podium, just.
My name is Sharon Jack. I'm a resident in Timrod Park. I think the consensus would be, because we are a historic district, just to keep the integrity of the historic district, so whatever would be coming down to be replaced with something that would be equivalent to what would have existed in the past. We have had an example on Pine and McQueen of a house that was torn down and replaced with maybe like a tract home again, just not keeping with the design and integrity of what a historic district should represent. So, as far as subdividing it, we're just, I think, as a community, kind of against that. I've had experience trying to subdivide a lot, and it wasn't even in a historic district, and the answer was absolutely not. It has to maintain a 60-foot road frontage, so we're just asking that you, especially in the historic district, honor that.
Yeah. Thanks. Anyone else have any comments or concerns? Okay, we'll go and close the public hearing and open it up for discussion. Motion.
I think the staff's already, we're not charged with the, that's gonna go in front of zoning and appeals as far as the subdivision. So I don't think it's not on our plate. I think what we have to decide is whether or not demolition is approved, and Mr. Norwood, whatever goes back will be like kind in materials.
Right, it will have to meet the design standards laid out for, which does include more detail than your standard tract home.
Okay.
I've been on this board a while, and I'm an engineer, and I've condemned a lot of houses. And I just from the picture, I haven't walked through this one, but I can look at it and tell you it's so far gone, there's no saving it, based on the pictures, in my opinion. So I don't see an issue with demo at all. I don't think you could sink enough money into it to fix it to justify what you have to do to fix it. So from a demo point of view, I think that's, the question should be answered.
To clarify, we are not charged with any of the approval of the design, simply the yes or no, it can be destroyed.
Well, you do have some say in the design as well, but because the new standards do lay out pretty specifically what, especially in the Timrod Park neighborhood, what residential buildings are supposed to look like. Again, you just kind of go with the, like if you were to place it with something similar to this, if you guys would be all right with that.
So, question for Mr. Norwood: If you can subdivide it, you will do two new builds and do two separate houses.
Correct.
But if
It would
you-
actually be the ones on the corners.
Okay. If you can't subdivide it, would you just go back with one?
Most likely.
Okay. Just,
Yeah.
okay.
That is zoned for duplexes, so if he couldn't subdivide it, he could do a duplex, but that also would have to meet certain design standards.
So this is my thing. If a duplex can go there, would you rather have a duplex or two $350,000 homes that people can move into? And they're not tract homes. And knowing that we have the duplex option, I would just, maybe think about that. Because I wouldn't want to go in there and put duplexes. We want to help the aesthetic of the neighborhood and bring, good families in. And we're not
would make your lots the smallest in the area
They
by several feet, I believe.
They might. But at the same time, you could have 4 families in there versus just 2. For me, we're trying to not come in there and make a quick buck. We're typically not residential developers. We're just doing it because my dad believes in basically pouring back into the community and, helping the overall aesthetic of Florence in general.
Any other questions, Mr. Powers?
No real question. I mean, we're considering the demo only. The rest of, from there on, it would have to meet guidelines, have to meet standards. It would have to be zoned. I agree that I can look at this and tell that it's not salvageable, but in my opinion, it'd be safer to demo it. So I would make a motion that we approve the demolition with the understanding that all future actions on the property meets the guidelines, which is going to happen anyway.
And if any proposed plans for homes don't meet this is good because this is the first residential project coming through after the adoption of our new guidelines, which are much more stringent in our Timrod Park district. It's closer to what we wanted to see for that neighborhood. The use of quality materials, certain architecture on the buildings to match the existing. So, we're kind of excited to see some new development in this area. And if we get a proposal that doesn't meet those guidelines, or if it's questionable in any way, we'll definitely bring it back to the board and back to the public realm for review.
I would like to make a motion to approve the demo, and anything that from a house being rebuilt, whether it's one houses on one lot or two houses on two lots, which is a function of the zoning board, has to meet guidelines. Otherwise, they would just have to come back before this board for approvals of variations on those house plans when they actually have them. I mean, we have concept drawings or concept pictures, but we don't actually have true house plans that you would build, right?
Well, those are the actual houses.
Okay.
The ones on the corners are in that particular.
So, Elaine, based on the pictures that were submitted, are
Those meet the standards.
those meet the standards? Okay. Well,
As long as the materials do.
Right.
We'll have to see
Okay.
the colors and the.
Yeah, they couldn't be like vinyl or anything like that.
okay. So, that was my motion.
And the colors come from the historical palette of the Sherwin-Williams deck, so that should meet the standards.
I second if the motion, or if it meets standards, then I second your motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Certificate will be issued.
Thank you.
Our final case for hearing today is case DRB 2026-04. It's a request for a certificate of appropriateness to demolish the building located at 291 West Palmetto Street, identified as Florence County Tax Map Number 90087-01-001 in the D1 Redevelopment District.
Mr. Chairman, I am the applicant and need to recuse myself.
Okay.
I can present
Hey,
on
Michael.
behalf of my client, Dr. Lawton, who's here
Okay.
as well.
Okay, Mr. Pageant is recused. We'll go ahead and get the report from staff.
All right. They are seeking the COA to demolish the remainder of the damaged commercial building at 291 West Palmetto Street. This one is in the redevelopment overlay district, which is the least restrictive of the overlay districts, but it does still have design standards that any rebuild would have to meet. It is on the corner of Coit and Palmetto Street, and it is the old Palmetto Nutrition Building. It's also zoned Central Business District. It was built in 1940, has an area of about 1,400 square feet. And you'll recall a few months ago, a truck ran into it and damaged the portico, and that was removed administratively due to the severity of the damage. And now, after further looking into it, they've decided that it just is in the best interest to take the whole building down. So that's what they're requesting.
Okay. Anyone have any questions of staff? Anybody want to make Mr. Paget speak?
Please state your name.
I know originally wasn't it a gas station? Are there any tanks underground?
Cleanup's almost finished.
And that's through the super PAC or whatever? Yeah.
Just the history on that.
I know you're bashful.
You know me well, Steve.
Sure.
So I'm Mark Law, and I own the building. I bought it a long time ago from Robbie Wilkins, the Wilkins family. Obviously, everybody knows them, Chisholm Wallace family. They didn't have the property to Francis Marion. So Robbie put this into the Superb Fund. He's paid the $25,000 deductible, and they've been drawing off of these wells. Sorry for my voice, guys. Been drawing off these wells now for, gosh, I don't know, 15 years or so, I guess, I mean, something like that. And the last cleanings they had, there was very little there. And I used to own all three corners and sold one to Robbie. So all of these things were like that. But they've been sucking those off for a long time, cleaning the water. So they're almost to the end of that. The last I heard, Robbie's still in charge of that. It's linked to him. So it's almost finished. It's got wells on it, but you'll see a big truck every now and then vacuuming things out. and I'm not an engineer, but I'll speak to what I've been told by two different engineers. When this thing was hit, thank God, I was not in town. My wife was here, and she went up there, and the truck was sitting underneath it, and they pulled the truck out, and there were about 10 people in that thing, and my wife says, we need to get out from under this thing, and I think about 4 minutes later, just straight down. So when it clamshelled down, where it is leaning against the building, the front door, the center of this won't close. And my engineer looked at it and he said, I think that the top part where the seal is has to be out of whack because the door won't close. And then we started putting pencil to paper and numbers, and it just got to where it was probably 3 times as much as this thing is worth. And there's not much historical left in it. It's siding, and I bought it. It was patched here and there and all that stuff. So I kind of bought it for investment to hook to I own the rest of the property around it. So not much historical there, although it's been there since 1940. I get it. My dad used to go there and get bubble gum. So, but we would like to put something there that's more presentable when you're driving down that corridor. My office is right down the street from it, so I think it's seen its better days, to be quite honest with you.
Can I ask you what are your plans to put there?
Well, I originally planned to put South State Bank there. Was why I bought the property, and Ben Ziegler worked his magic, and of course they got a plaque about this big, and they got the corner. So we just held on to it, had it in our database for just property holding. This
Old House of Louis.
That's right, Old House of Louis. That's right. So we've had interest in putting more residential there, honestly, and I've sold another tract downtown that's becoming residential, combined commercial, and I think it's going to look nice and neat, and with everything that's coming down to where it's going to be, I just think this can be better served. I see this as a kind of initial small Charleston type deal when you got to have this housing that's close to people and kids want to walk back and forth to the program. So I think the two people, and this is listed with Palmetto Commercial Real Estate, Drew has had a lot of interest. When they found out we were going to ask for this building to be torn down, and the interest went up tremendously, actually. So all of our interest that we've had in the past has been residential. If this thing was gone, to lay it out correctly.
You talking about 2-story, 3-story?
Yeah, whatever they would design. I mean, they're what we were told that they wanted to, if they were going to do it, they would like to see some mixed use out of it. I don't know if this zone. I don't know what they can put there, but they did talk like on Cheddar Street. They're going to do commercial on the bottom and residential over it on the other piece of property I sold, and those same folks have expressed some interest about rolling in here and connecting that, and there's some interest in the city about putting a kind of a drive-through from Coit, somehow wrapping around there or splitting it, going out to Chebbers or something to make that more flowing, actually, instead of just having a big square there.
Good.
Thank you for the explanation. Any other questions? Anyone else here to speak on the matter? We'll go ahead and close the public hearing and open it up for discussion or a motion.
Make a motion to approve the demolition.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That is approved.
Who did the motion and the,
Mr. Gunner?
oh, okay. And who did the second? Thank you.
Staff have any other issues for us?
No, we're good.
Well, hopefully it's not another 4 months, but we'll see y'all at our next scheduled meeting, February 11th at 2 o'clock. Thanks for your
Thank you
time.
very much. Thanks.